Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Anthony Talks Politics.
You don't hear them talking about COVID. COVID. To be specific, COVID-19. That name gets further and further away from China as opposed to calling it the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Kung flu, the Chinese virus. Don't you understand, you dumb?
So, Sleepy Joe and his campaign of cognitive decliners are talking about how the polls are correct in their favor and how they're going to win. They're going to win big, and Trump is going to lose. His fate is nothing but a weakness. That is what they are saying. And here, as you can see by the title, Biden campaign fires back after Trump interview. Actually, I haven't viewed the interview. It says polls show smears aren't working. The president took several political and personal shots at Biden on Fox News Sunday. The campaign of Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic presidential candidate, responded to President Trump's interview that aired Sunday on Fox News. Oh, today is Sunday. On Fox News Sunday, by accusing Trump of lying about the former vice president, who is currently leading the polls. Well, they said that in 2016, now Hillary was dominating in the polls. She was winning big, 80%. Trump had 20% of winning. The polls are complete garbage. They're made by people who literally go on the streets. They ask people who are probably high as hell, drunk as hell, who are you going to vote for? And, obviously they're going to say something they don't mean. They're going to say, oh, I'm going to vote for Sleepy Joe or something. And the Democrats, they just put up the stats. Oh, this is what's going to happen. The polls, look what they're demonstrating that Trump is way down. He's going to lose. You liberals don't have to worry because Joe Biden is going to be president. Yeah, you want a child sniffer, a molester to be president? I guess that's what's going to happen. So it says here, Trump took a number of shots at Biden, accusing him of being mentally incapable of being president and taking far left positions such as wanting to defund police departments. Accusing him of being mentally far left positions. Well, that's exactly what Sleepy Joe and the Democrats want. Sleepy Joe to the Dems is just a puppet. He's just a puppet that they're manipulating to their benefit. They're just utilizing him, all the defund the police bullshit. They're utilizing it to their favor because they obviously could tell. They could obviously tell that Sleepy Joe is suffering from cognitive decline because of his age. He's like 78 years old, if I'm not mistaken, 77 around there. And Bernie Sanders, I think in my opinion, is one of the high-ranking members of the Gestapo, as I like to call it, or the left. He's one of the high-ranking members there, as well as Hillary, not so much. Hillary lost a lot of her power because of the emails and all that, but definitely Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren is up there, Amy Klobuchar, those type of Democrats are up there, and what they're doing is they're basically utilizing Sleepy Joe as their puppet, and if he becomes president, basically he's not going to be the president, it's going to be Bernie Sanders who's going to control everything around the party. It's just going to be like that, and everything, and they're going to tell Joe Biden what to do and all that. Well, that's up to the liberals. That's up to them and solely them. But so it says here, for over a year, Donald Trump and his campaign have cycled through the same self-defeating attacks against Joe Biden and have failed to get traction on a single one. Biden's deputy campaign manager, Kate Bedingfield, said in a statement, President Trump gave it yet another go on Fox News Sunday this morning. He lurched from smear to smear, all while being forcefully corrected on most, including the lie that Joe Biden wouldn't keep the American people safe and supports defunding the police, which has been fact-checked into oblivion over the last month. Actually, let's pull up right now Joe Biden saying that he supports the fact to defund the police.
Reform. We need significantly more help. That's why I call for significant increase in funding for mental health clinics and mental health providers. We are desperately in need of that now. One of the things I've been pushing for in our administration, we put together the ability in a bill that I wrote to make sure that we can look at pattern and practice of police departments. Go in and get all the records and find out what they're doing. That's why we're able to stop the stop and frisk in Camden, the stop and frisk in New York City and the rest, where the federal government has the right to go in and change systemically what's going on. There's a whole range of things that we can do. The idea of no-knock warrants for drug cases is bizarre. We don't need that. It just invites trouble. That's how Breonna was killed. There's a need for fundamental change in us being able to have transparency, be able to have access to the records of police when they have misconduct charges against them, to be able to know where they are, so they can't go from one police department to the next. That should be held in my administration. That information will have to be made available to the Justice Department and held in a file, so you'll be able to track this. Surplus military equipment for law enforcement. They don't need that. The last thing you need is an up-armored Humvee coming into a neighborhood. It's like the military invading. They don't know anybody. They become the enemy. They're supposed to be protecting these people. So my generic point is that...
Do we agree that we can redirect some of the funding?
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that we also need to be doing is fundamentally changing the way, and I've been pushing it for years, changing the way we deal with our prison system. It should be a rehabilitation system, not a punishment system. We're going to make sure that you're qualified for every single right you had before you went to prison if you served your time. And that means that you're entitled to Pell Grants to go to school. You're entitled to job training programs. You're entitled to housing grants. You're entitled.
Okay, so CNN, of course, they're very absurd articles, have just stated recently today that Joe Biden, yes, Sleepy Joe, the one and only, continues to run well ahead of Hillary Clinton's 2016 pace. Well, if you're referring to the pace of dementia, the pace of how long it's going to take for him to forget his name, I mean, he's nearly there. He's doing great. He's doing great in that aspect. But you can't keep up with this. You can't keep up with this because, I mean, you think about this. 2016, they had Hillary up 80% in the polls. And now, I mean, even Fox News is saying that Biden's up in the polls. I mean, this is just absurd. It's preposterous because, well, the polls really don't mean anything. As I stated before in my video, they don't mean anything. I mean, let's talk about the things that Joe Biden's really good at. Well, he's really good at sniffing little children. Oh my God, he's amazing. He's the best at that. I mean, you know, he likes to sniff. He likes to sniff. I'm going to call him Sniffing Man. That's what I'm going to call him. This article is published by Harry Enton. Wow. Another liberal. So it says here, a new Monmouth University poll of Pennsylvania voters finds former Vice President Joe Biden 52% to President Donald Trump's 42% across different turnout models. Monmouth's poll looks a lot like a June New York Times survey that put Biden ahead by 10 points. What's the point? There is no doubt that Biden is leading the race for president right now. He holds an edge nationally as well as in the key swing states like Pennsylvania. In spite of all these numbers, people continuously point to 2016 or dismiss or at least put a big asterisk on Biden's advantage. Just Biden's not winning anything. He's not. I mean, he wants to defund the police. He cares more about rehabilitation than punishment. I think rehabilitation is inessential. It's a waste of time because once you're a criminal, there's no going back. You're always a criminal. I mean, you look at George Floyd. He's always been a criminal. And here it says, Biden is simply in a much better polling position than Hillary was at this time. I mean, you guys had Hillary up at 80%. 80%. And then you're telling me that Biden's in a better position. That is complete bullcrap. That is BS all the way. There really is no comparison except that both races had or have Trump as a candidate. 4 years ago, the polls being released at this juncture were conducted just before the Republican convention got underway. Let's view the polling ourselves. So, oh my goodness. You see, this is complete BS. Fox News turns more to Trump. I'm pretty sure they do. I mean, that's like the only news station that really supports our Lord President. CNN, of course, are going to vote for Biden. So I think these two are the most accurate ones. ABC, probably Biden, but it's ABC. It's complete bullcrap. I mean, you're forgetting the hundreds of millions of people who supported Donald Trump in 2016. And there's a bunch of people, actually, who didn't think he would win, who didn't support him, who thought he was a fool, and now they've actually realized how good of a president he's become over the years, and they're going to vote for him this year. I mean, you got Democrats that have switched to their alternate party, and that are now affiliated with the Republican Party, and it's absolutely crazy at this point how the corruption that's being revealed from the left. I mean, you still got, all of the people that are in the left are all bad apples, and the ones that are still in the left, or are still classified as leftists, they just don't want to realize how corrupt they are themselves. So Reuters here, 47% Biden. I mean, this is just amazing. You know, they got Trump losing everywhere, completely everywhere. I mean, no, guys, not gonna happen. What happened in 2016, as I stated in my previous video, it's gonna happen again. The liberals are gonna start crying. They're going to pray to their Lord, please, no, not Donald Trump, no. I mean, who would you rather want? A child molester or a Lord, a leader who puts America first?
I am officially running for President of the United States. We need a leader. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. It can be wonderful if you have smart people, but we have people